This is the next edition of our AVPro webinar series. And today's presentation is called Facilitating Live Streaming for Your Customer. Thank you for joining us on this online training event. I'm excited to talk with all of you about an area of the audio video distribution channel that is overlooked in most installations, and that is live streaming. So before we get too far ahead, I'll introduce myself. My name is Tom Devine. I am the Director of Marketing for AVPro Global Holdings. Who AVPro is we are an audio video manufacturer. We have a few different brands. Meridio, that's all of our calibration, testing, and troubleshooting products. We also have AVPro Edge, which is our distribution and video connectivity product line, and Bullet Train, our high-speed premium HDMI cables. What makes us different is we are on the cutting edge of audio video technology. Our products are unique. We have our own R&D, we have our own manufacturer, and we don't just copy and paste products that you would see other places. Our products are built to a military grade specification and do come with a 10-year warranty. So we are leaders in 4K, HDR, wide color gamut, 18 gigabit per second technology, and we have an unbeatable support team. So that's kind of who we are. And if you're coming to this webinar and you're just hearing about us, please check out our website or look at some of our other webinars that we have done. But today we're going to be talking about something that's pretty cool, something that you guys are doing right now, which is streaming, and more specifically live streaming. You guys are live streaming this webinar as you listen to me. And actually, before we get too far ahead, I just want to show you here that we are actually live streaming this as well on YouTube. So if you go to, if you're able to multitask, you would be able to go to a new window. I'll do incognito, so it's like it won't remember any of my information. It would be just like you checking it out. We'll go to YouTube. And if you click AVPro Edge with a space in between AVPro and Edge, you will get our channel right now. And actually, if you just look down here, the third one down for me is the Impulse Webinar Live. So I'm going to be live on YouTube. You will find a little delay, but we are actually going to be using the Impulse product right here to be streaming this entire this entire webinar from YouTube as well as GoToWebinar. So you're always welcome to check that as well. But hey, this is me. Hello, it's good to see you guys. I just wanted to let you know that this will be going on at the same time as we do our normal presentation. So let's get back over to live streaming, and that's the reason we're here. So live streaming. What is streaming? It's a way of transmitting audio or video over a computer network. It allows anyone with some hardware and an internet connection to share content over the world. Major social media sites such as Facebook, YouTube, they all support live streaming. Live streaming is a great way for artists, entertainers, bands, companies, anybody else that you could imagine to communicate with their fans or their community or their fan base, their customers, and it's a way to get directly to them. So, today we're going to cover a little bit of history of what streaming has been, where it has come, where it's at right now, where it will go into the future, but also, and more importantly, why audio video integrators, project designers, and salespeople need to be thinking about live streaming. Live streaming is an overlooked part of an audio video solution. So if you're putting together an entire installation with mini zones and different audio and video zones, and you're not also offering live streaming as a service or an additional feature to your installation, well, then you're actually not giving your customer everything, all the options that they deserve to have. And you may be, once you do start offering it, you may find that a lot of people are not offering it, and it's a service that you would be able to specialize in. So Before we get too far, let's think about where streaming came from. So broadcast versus streaming. Broadcast TV, comes in our invisible waves that hit our antenna and have forever. And live TV has been broadcast over the television since the origination of television. There's been shows that are like Saturday Night Live, the local news. Those are live shows. So they've been live for, Saturday Night Live over 40 seasons, still running strong, delivering it live. So it's an exciting way to watch content. Today we have sporting events, news, special events, concerts, award shows, all things like that. They are broadcast live over TV, but also they're broadcast over the internet at the same time. So broadcast, it's exactly how everybody has watched the content forever. A broadcast news station, that's how you get your news. That's how we talked about watching sports. You're getting that over a broadcast. Well, in order to have a broadcast system, a lot of times there's multiple cameras. You have to have switching equipment. You have to have manpower to run all of this equipment. It can get very, very expensive very, very quickly. So with the addition of the internet and communicating in a new way and sharing things in a new way, is streaming better than broadcast? The internet has changed the way we consume content. More people each year are cutting the cord and opting to stream content versus watching TV via cable or over the air. 33 million people cut the cord in 2018 alone. 33 million. There's only 350 million people in the United States of America. Can you imagine 33 million people cutting the cord and going to streaming devices? 6 out of 10 people prefer streaming. And by 2025, which seems like the future, but is only 6 years away, half of the viewers under 32 years old will not subscribe to cable TV, and that includes Dish Network or DirecTV, those kind of places. Live streaming, when you're doing it yourself, it makes you a broadcaster. In a way, you're sending out your signal to whoever you want to see it. Well, it's not for us or for me to determine if streaming is better or broadcast is better than streaming. There's major positives on both sides and downsides on each as well. But we just need to know that streaming is here, and it's a way that people around the world are finding that they can broadcast themselves now. So the times are changing. Since the mid-1990s, broadcasters have started streaming over the internet. In 1993, the first live event streamed over the internet. This was a concert. It had a video resolution of 152 pixels by 76 pixels. Not exactly high definition. It ran at 10 frames per second and the audio was complete garbage. So, was it a great experience for the people who watched it? But no, it definitely was not. But it was an exciting experience for people to look at their computers and see something happening live that broadcast to them through the internet or streamed. So what has changed? At the turn of the century, we started seeing a rapid increase in available internet bandwidth. We saw that the introduction of user-based streaming video services like YouTube, Ustream, they started to come about. And then we had the explosion of social media with Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, Friendster, Snapchat. Some have come and gone and some are still here. All are live streaming right now. YouTube and Twitch are clearly the largest live streaming platforms on the internet and are major players. So here's breaking down some actual stats. 1080p resolution with great sound quality is now just commonplace in streaming. YouTube and some other places will even let you go to 4K and HDR. But let's look at these stats here. 1 billion videos are played every single day on YouTube. 1 billion. 1 in 5 Facebook videos are now live. This is an old stat, but I was trying to find a good stat. This is the one that I could trust the most. It was from a few years ago. But the increase in usage from January 2016 to May 2016, watching live videos increased 300% on Facebook. And it's continued to increase and increase and increase since 2016. There are 8 billion videos viewed daily on Facebook. And this next stat is the reason for this webinar in the first place. This is why AV integrators, why AVPro, why this industry needs to be paying attention to this. And it's live videos receive more interaction than traditional pre-recorded videos by 6 times. That means if you're on YouTube and you're on Facebook and you send out a video and you place a video on Facebook, you will have your viewers watch it. And if you make that same video, except you shoot it live, you will have 6 times as many interactions on that video. That is huge. This is a way that that businesses, churches, and everything in between is able to get in front of their audience for free using a free social media application and live stream content that you want to inject into their eyes and ears. It's a very, very powerful tool, and a powerful tool underused by a lot of businesses, groups, communities today. So some streaming stats. Streaming's changed the way that artists, entertainers, and companies reach their fans and customers. 80% of people surveyed would rather watch a live video than read a blog. 82% prefer live video over a social media post. 67% of viewers are more likely to buy a ticket to a concert or event after watching a live video of the event. And 67% say that video quality is the most important factor when streaming live events. And that last stat is very important. Video quality. So how are we streaming right now? Right now, almost all live streaming is done through a smartphone. And it's the easiest. The app is on your phone. The phone has a camera. But the video and audio quality suffers when you use that. It's shaky. You have to use your hand to hold it up. What happens when you receive a call, a message, an application notification? Your battery runs low. A lot of things can interrupt your stream or at least degrade the signal of that said stream. Streaming, the other way to stream is with a computer and a camera. Well, first you have to figure out how to hook the camera up to the computer. Then you have to have some sort of software that you'd be able to see the camera with. Then you have to figure out how to match that camera onto the social media platforms and stream, and it becomes very, very cumbersome. Then if you have other applications or other software on the computer, something pops up, it uses part of the computer's RAM or storage or memory, and then all of a sudden it just starts degrading your signal that you're trying to live stream. That's where we're currently at for live streaming. So to recap, streaming is only getting more popular. We've seen the stats, it's obvious. It's one of the best ways to reach the masses and interact with fans and customers. Using a phone isn't ideal. Using a laptop can be cumbersome. But what we are presenting for you today from AVPro is the Impulse. Impulse is the better way. AVPro Edge Impulse, it's powered by Syncor. Syncor is a brand that you're able to trust in the broadcast community, and has been a long partner of AVPro's. We were able to partner with them on this particular product because we knew they had the broadcast experience to go along with our forward-thinking ideas. This streaming box does not require a dedicated computer, so you do not have to have a computer to operate the Impulse. It works with any camera with an HDMI connection. We have a Plus model that will work with any camera that has HDMI or SDI. This is a perfect solution for hassle-free streaming to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, or any of the other social media sites. So it can do a lot of things, but before we get into that, let's first click back over. So here I am again, guys. I can see there's a couple of you guys who must have clicked on it. So hello. Let's take a look at what the actual it takes to connect an impulse. So right now, as you can see, I'm looking into a camera. This camera is connected via an HDMI cable right here to our impulse. So I'll get this a little closer here, but this is our HDMI port. This is going into the camera that you're watching right there. We have a port for our internet. We're plugged into the internet, and we have power. That's all that's plugged in right now. Notice there is an HDMI out port, and that is very, very important for integrators, and we will get into that later in the webinar. But I just want to show it's very easy. So I've connected all of this here. I have my computer now also connected to the same internet via Wi-Fi. So I'm going to control that impulse. And so how we do that is we take there on the front of the impulse right here is a IP address, and we can type that IP address into any browser. We're also able to change that IP address directly on the box here to whatever we wanted it to. If you were already using the default, for instance, or the default, for instance. So let's get out of this here, and we'll go over to impulse. So I was already into it earlier, but what we have here is the impulse. So as you can see, I am using 192.168.1.133. I type that into my browser, and when I type it into my browser, I have to log in. So we have the default is admin that can be updated right in this software. So now that I'm in here, we will get our status screen. And our status screen isn't going to play us a video. It's going to give us just a image of whatever's on the camera, and it's going to give you an image every 4 seconds. But we are able to see kind of what's going on. So live streaming, input status, good. I'm able to see that my input is an HDMI. The input is 1080i. So my output, good. As you can tell, we're live on YouTube right now, and you guys would be able to see that. Our output is going to YouTube, and our output resolution is 1080p. Our input status for recording is good. We're not currently recording, and we're not currently playing back anything. We're live streaming. Those are some different functions of the impulse. So how this works, you connect that power, the internet, and the camera to the impulse. You then find your YouTube page that you would like to stream to. In this case, we're using AVPro Edge's YouTube. And so how that works is I'll start from the beginnings to make sure that you guys are able to see all the steps. So what you do is here's the YouTube homepage. We'll go in here. We need to go to your Creator Studio. So I click on Creator Studio. And anybody who has a Gmail account has access to this. If you have a YouTube page, you probably already know that. But here we go. You click live streaming because that's what we are doing. And what the impulse is it's an encoder. It's encoding the system to send it to YouTube. So we go down to encoder setup, and right here we have a server URL. And this server URL, you take and you place this exact information and you put it into the impulse. We go to live service and streaming. So here's our setup for live service streaming settings. I put my URL right here. Port 135 will be automatic because that's the default port for all social medias. RTMP is the default method for all social media and major sites that would be used. We're doing a manual method, and our input is HDMI. So our upload node right there, you find that by under the stream name or key. You can click reveal. You get your own upload code. You put that here. Authentication with YouTube, we don't have to have any authentication. This is our authentication. And then we choose what video profile we want. Right now I'm choosing 1080p. So We have that, we hit apply, click, and we click this. Right now it says stop streaming because we are currently streaming, but it would say start streaming, and you click that. About 30 seconds later, you would now be live. You are able to control what I can call it whatever I want here. I can make it public. I can schedule whatever I need to. I have a bunch of different options that I'm able to do all in YouTube. But once you set that up one time, now that this is set up, I no longer ever need to go back onto my computer. I could do this all from a smartphone. I wouldn't need to be able to do that. You're able to do all of that with the actual impulse box that we have here. So with this, with these front control panels, once this is done one time, you're able to use this however many times you want and stream direct. So you hit start streaming, you leave it alone, you walk away from the camera knowing that it's working the entire time. So it's that simple, right? Connect to the internet, browse, go to the IP address in the browser, enter those two things that you'll pull off of the Facebook or YouTube. In this instance, we used YouTube, and then you'd be able to start streaming. So now we've been streaming, as you can tell. You know, this is here right here. I can get all the information that YouTube gives you, but I have a healthy stream right now. I know that if my internet connection going into the impulse is healthy, then this is going to be a healthy stream. I'm confident in that. So you're able to continue to check there, but for now we'll switch back over and we'll take a look at back to our PowerPoint presentation now that we know how to get this impulse connected. And you guys, if you are having any questions at all, any questions, please put them in the questions area on the right-hand side. So in your GoToWebinar control panel, you can click the questions, you can type them in there. At the end of this, I'm going to go through any questions you have, and we'll also at the end, there'll be time for you to ask questions. We can unmute your guys' mics even, and we can have the questions. So I did put that in the chat earlier, but did not mention it. So I just wanted to make sure that it is mentioned now that you guys know that. So we have our impulse. This is basically what we just did, right? Where this guy right here is he's standing in front of a camera. The camera's plugged into the impulse. The impulse is sending the signal out to YouTube, and now anybody is able to watch this, what's happening here live. And that's what we're doing currently. It connects to any camera with HDMI or SDI. So we have a AC-impulse. That is one of the part numbers, and that's going to be the one for the HDMI. And then there's an AC-impulse-plus. That is going to be where you would have SDI and HDMI. Now, the reason we have one, AVPro, as a lot of you know, is an HDMI company. We almost do HDMI for everything. We also convert HDMI to HD-base-T, but it's almost all HDMI. This is our first product with an SDI port, and the reason we did that is because we are finding a lot of places that would like to live stream that are currently trying to figure out ways that they can do it themselves. They already have a camera, and almost all of these cameras that we are finding in concert halls or house of worships, we're finding that they have an SDI out. So we do have the SDI out port built when that's the kind of camera that we have. So another feature of the impulse is you're able to simultaneously stream live to the internet and record at the same time. This means I could put on a presentation, I get as many viewers as I can, I record everything directly to an SD card or a flash drive attached to the impulse using those settings that we saw earlier. And I would then be able to, after the recording is done, I'll take this information, I'll give it to my video editor. He can put an opener on it and put some credits on it, edit some different graphics into it, and then we can release that as a whole nother video. That it's a great tool, and what you'll find is if you're looking for alternatives to the impulse, none of the other ones have this front panel control and recording. This makes the impulse very, very unique and adds a major benefit to the impulse. So benefits we have Extremely easy to set up. We did it really quickly here. It does not need a dedicated computer. Once you have it set up, you can just use the front control box and click go, you're good to go. You can easy to control from any smartphone, laptop, or tablet, and you broadcast to your specific followers, fans, and community for free. That is very important. Every single business in the entire world wants to get their information out there. Everybody wants to have an audience see the products that they have, or see what they're trying to present, or get the message that they're trying to say. The Impulse gives you that ability without having to put on a monthly charge to reach these people. YouTube, Facebook, these things already exist, and it's up to you as an integrator to offer this service to your customers. Your customers don't always know exactly what they need. It's up to us to show that if they are not live streaming, they are missing out on major opportunities. What we're going to do is we're going to start covering some major examples and some applications that we've already found success in with the Impulse, so that we can start having our customer think about these type of things when we present to them. So, most common application for live streaming. At the end of the day, millions and millions of people watch Twitch and YouTube every single day. This guy right here, he is one of the most famous YouTubers. His name's PewDiePie. He made $12 million just making YouTube videos last year. So it's clearly there is an audience for these and money to be made in different ways. So common applications that we are going to see. Small businesses reaching out to customers. This is a way for you to broadcast special events, such as Customer Appreciation Day, a new day that you have specials. Maybe your slow day is Tuesday, so that's the day that you do some special event. And it's a way that you can gain buzz and build the buzz around your business. So you have some exciting announcements that you announce live on Facebook. It gives you something to lead up to. Let's say throughout the week, you say, make sure you check our Facebook Live on this date and time. 2 days later, hey, make sure you check date and time on this date. It starts building in anticipation. On that time and date, you then give your announcement and you make a live video using the Impulse. It looks really nice and professional because you're using a nice camera, not just your smartphone. Everybody was excited to see this, and now you start seeing people share the video and it's getting out, and your customers are sharing it to their friends and their friends, and now everybody knows about your business, and Tuesday has become the most successful day that you have. That is a simple scenario, but an effective one. So let's say you're going to do, in this picture, looks like a coffee shop. So you're going to do a coffee shop job. They need audio everywhere in the bathroom. They want a TV in the lobby, a few TVs out in this room, and maybe a little matrix switcher. Well, make one of the inputs of the matrix switcher a camera. Put a Impulse in between the camera and the matrix switch, and now you're able to broadcast whatever you have on that camera throughout your entire business, but also throughout the entire internet. And so that is what makes this Impulse so much different. Is there are streaming devices out there. You can use your computer, but this is built for an audio video integrator. So as we spoke about before, that HDMI out port. So I want to see if I can find a picture here. So we're going to go back to this slide. And you look here, this is an HDMI out right here. So no matter whatever you put in here, if it's an HDMI or if you have the SDI one that's coming in here, you're able to loop out HDMI. No matter if you're recording and streaming at the same exact time, you're able to loop out. That means If you already have a digital signage system together, you're able to put this in between the input and the source without any interruption. You do not interrupt your already put together audio video distribution channel. You're able to add this to your audio video distribution channel, and whatever content you push through on that audio video distribution channel, you can stream it to the internet. It's an extremely helpful tool. Let's say you have just a security camera put up to this. You have your security camera, has all 9 of the security cameras that you have on one screen. That becomes an input. You have that throughout your system, but you also want to check it at your house. You can use the Impulse to do that. You can have the Impulse have a private network that goes straight to you. So that small business is going to be a huge part of who needs this and who wants this. And a lot of them don't even know that how beneficial this can be for them. Another application is music venues, concert halls. Broadcast to viewers all over the world who couldn't make the show. It can be a new potential revenue stream, and I'm going to get into that revenue stream a little bit more into this next slide. So, common applications: kids in amateur sports, broadcast the high school football game, the high school play, wrestling meet, track meet, or any other event around schools or booster clubs. Every single high school has a booster club for the football team, for the basketball team. And what happens is maybe grandma and grandpa have a grandson that's playing football, and they live in another state, so they're not able to go to all the games, but they would love to see them. And you have a booster club package where that if they pay $50 to be a part of the booster club, on Friday night before the game, they'll receive an email with a link, and they would be able to view the entire football game over a private YouTube link that they would be able to get because they are a booster club member. Now, this allows them to see their grandson, so they're happy, and it allows the booster club to push the revenue that they can put through. Now, that's the same thing with concerts and event halls. Push that revenue. You can offer let's say you have a concert and you sell tickets for $50 and 100 people go to the concert, and that's great. But there's another 100 people that don't really want to go to the concert but would like to see the show. They don't like to be around people. So you have an offer that you can get a live stream of this show for $10, and you have another 100 people buy that link. That would put you at a huge advantage on pushing the revenue out of that one event. You can find ways to share it with talent, make them more money, make you more money, and also build the buzz on your event. So those are all exciting and great ways that the Impulse has been able to help people, and how live streaming has been able to help businesses in general. But another huge section of the audio video world is the house of worship. Churches, synagogues around the world all have distributed audio systems. They all have a video system. They all need audio going here. And a lot of them have a person who's trying to run a sound mixer board or run instruments from a band. A lot of them have cameras already. But what is hard is for them to stream live to YouTube, to churchstreaming.tv, to those other church streaming places, that you would be able to do that with the Impulse. So just like anything, you have your camera that would be in the very back of the church. You hook that up to the Impulse. You have the Impulse connected to the internet. You start streaming at the start of your service. It streams the entire service. Now, the people that were physically not able to make it to the service, they're able to see it. The people that were that have moved out of state but wanted to still be a part of your church community are able to do that. And the church is able to get their message out and use their audience base to grow the message that they're trying to do. This has been a really successful application for the Impulse, and we have the Impulse in many churches already around the United States. This is one of the major tools where you're also able to use that loop out port, where you can have the camera going into into the you have the impulse, the camera going into the impulse loop out port going into the distributed video system, so people in the nursery and in the hallway and in the kitchen are able to all see the service. It's a great application for the impulse. Another place is bars and restaurants with live entertainment. It doesn't always have to be a live band. It doesn't have to be a concert hall. It could just be that DJ or trivia night or whatever exciting thing you have going on at your bar or restaurant. Let's get some eyes on it. When people check social media and they see a bunch of people having fun at a place, it makes them want to go there as well. It's a way that you can use your audience to build that as well, which becomes a really cool tool. And then there's schools and universities. Now, a professor that's giving a lesson who's able to stream the entire lesson and then have that live stream to people who are not able to make class, and then for the student that was able to make class to check it later, that becomes a huge tool. When you're putting together a room for a college or university, you're already speccing in speakers and a projector and a screen. Excuse me. Start speccing in as well a camera, a simple SDI camera with a microphone and an impulse. Now they're able to, with an impulse in each room, every single class is being able to be recorded. You could put the impulse right by the professor and he could hit start broadcasting and end broadcasting at the beginning and end of each class. Training. So right now AVPro sells a lot of products to integrators that are placing them in office environments and businesses. I apologize. In businesses, and those businesses always need to have a click share or some sort of screen that they can share their ideas with the location across the country or across the campus or whatever. With Impulse, you're able to utilize Impulse, put that message that you want to send out to multiple locations without having to figure that out. You just put it right to YouTube, you share your link to YouTube with any of the other locations that need to see it, and now you're sharing your message without having to use specialized software. Hospitals are another great setting. You have live surgeries that are already being watched by nurses and doctors remotely. They have a camera already in there, bringing it to a local viewing station. Well, now you can put the Impulse in between the camera and the viewing station, and you're also you would be able to broadcast that surgery to a potential nurses and doctors in training around the entire world instead of just in that hospital. It's a way for universities to expand their learning, and it's a way for doctors to share the different ideas and different techniques with each other. If you're putting together a room in a hospital and it needs to already have, a TV and this receiver box, there's no reason that your surgery rooms should not also have streaming devices. Airports, the reason this is in here, because we just recently sold sold 4 impulses to one integrator that is going to be placing them in an airport, so people would be able to check on the sign or the lines in real time. So, to recap, streaming is quickly becoming one of the best ways to reach masses and interact with fans and customers. Viewers are more inclined to interact and stay engaged when watching a video. The Impulse is a perfect, simple solution to stream. You are only limited by your creativity. So this is the AVPro Impulse, powered by Cencor. That's who we teamed up to create this. You can find more information at our website. You can give us a call directly. We have people standing by right now to answer your questions. But I do have plenty of questions that I get asked that came up during the webinar, and I appreciate some of you guys for writing them. So if you guys do have questions, please enter them now in the question area. I'm going to start going through the ones that I have. So here we have Jim Lean. He says, what is the spec required for the SD card? Well, it would just be your standard SD card. I don't know offhand which one, but I know you don't have to have the the super high quality. I've used just a simple one that we had that was 6 gigabytes for testing, and that worked just fine. I can make sure that though we send you the full specs of exactly what's required of that card there, Jim. All right. Next question. So we have Abdullah Khan. If I need to connect multiple cameras with Impulse, how can we connect those with perfect streaming? So Abdullah, you're actually not able to connect multiple cameras directly to an Impulse. What you would have to do is you would have to buy some sort of mixer that you would be able to put in a couple cameras, and it would have one output that you would be able to switch in between. You would have to have that in between that and the Impulse. Because the Impulse would actually not be able to switch in between cameras. You would have to have another product that does that. And there are lots of different variations out there. Up to what size of gigabyte can I use for recording with the Impulse? Well, I have used up to 128 gigabytes per second, or excuse me, gigabytes. It's always natural to say this. This is another Abdullah question. I appreciate that. What size of gigabyte can I use for recording the Impulse? I've used up to 128. It doesn't matter. You can go forever. The Impulse will stream for multiple days at a time, and you would be able to record that until it filled up. Another thing, though, is this is an encoder. So the thing that it records is compressed. You would be able to output it into 264. So even if you coming out of the camera, you were coming with a raw signal, when you record, you're able to record a lot more because you're going to be recording the encoded signal that the Impulse outputs. Marilyn Hergensen said MSRP. So let's check out MSRP. Let's go back here. If you guys ever need to know what MSRP is, you can always you can always check. We have many distributors around the country that are great, and they all will carry our product. They all carry the Impulse. You can go to AVPro Edge right here and go to buy, and you can just find whoever your distributor is, and you can use that. But we also have just an online store. That's AVPro store, so we can go here, and I can go Impulse. And so we have MSRP is for the Impulse without so this is HDMI only, it's $1,149. And with the Impulse Plus, that's SDI, it's $1,499. All right, next question. All right, Alexander, he says, hi. What about the signal from the cameras through the HDMI splitter? So I'm trying to figure out exactly what you're thinking here, Alexander. So what about the signal from two cameras through an HDMI splitter? Yeah, I mean that's a great idea. You could definitely do that. You could stream to two different places that way. If you had a a 2 input 1 output instead of actually splitting it, that's how you could do. That's how you would be able to do dual cameras. If you had a splitter, that's how you could do dual outputs. All right, Abdullah Khan, can we expect in the future to have an Impulse in the 4K live streaming? Yes. We developed 1080p because we want the bandwidth limitations of a lot of people around the world. They don't have a strong internet here in the United States. We don't have that strong of an internet compared to a lot of places. So we did do 1080p to keep that down. Once we do go to 4K, we will be talking a lot more room. Or, Abdullah, we just need to we need to have people figure out better compression algorithms, which is happening all the time. We're using 264 right now. You can actually change the Impulse. I'll show you guys here. You go into advanced settings. We're using 264 for the kind of encoding that we're doing, but we can do 265. that folds it once again and makes it even stronger. So as that progresses, you can definitely expect to see a 4K in the future as well. Oh, 2 cameras. Okay, thank you. So I'm looking at the next question. Alexander, he said 2 cameras, sorry. So yeah, you wouldn't be able to use a splitter because the splitter is going to actually take that camera and give you 2 of the exact same. So what we would want for 2 cameras is we'd actually want a mixer. So this would be like you could use a 2x2 matrix switcher. The AVPro Edge has a 4x4 matrix switcher that would be perfect. We have a 4x2 matrix switcher that is very, very low cost. That would be perfect. You could have 4 cameras and then you just switch in between the cameras using that switcher. The impulse is going to just show exactly what comes through it. So whichever camera that you selected, you could use the 4x2 with the impulse, and now you have multiple cameras. It does not, Craig Werson has the next question here, and he said SDI in and SDI out, and it's actually no, it is SDI in and HDMI out. So your loop out port is only going to be HDMI. So we can, if we go back to this live dashboard, I'll put this up here, but I just want to see so you guys can see here. This has our HDMI in right here, our HDMI out right here, and we have our SDI port is back over here. And by our SDI port, there is only one hole for SDI. This impulse that I'm using right now is HDMI only. All right, I think there's another question in here. So we have, all right, Alexander just says thanks. Guys and girls, if there's any other questions that you guys have, please feel free to follow up via email. My email is tom@avproglobal.com. You can send it to info@avproglobal.com. I will get them. I will follow up with anybody if you have any more questions. But I want to thank everybody for checking out the webinar. I want to thank everybody for checking out our Staying with AVPro. It looks like we did have a couple more questions in, so I'll answer them. We have Brent Davey. How can you connect a microphone or audio mixer output for best audio quality without excessive background noise? So how can you connect a microphone or audio mixer output for best audio quality without excessive background noise? So, I don't have a specific answer for that. I don't have enough experience using different types of microphones or audio mixers with the impulse. But what I can do is, Brent, is I will make sure that I talk to our tech support department. They would be able to give me a good answer on that, and then I'll have them follow up on email. I think when you registered, you would have given your email, so I should be able to find that, Brent, and I'll make sure that your answers or your question gets answered. All right. RS-232 control, codes for Crestron. We do not have a built-in, whoa, what's going in infinity mirror right now? That's cool. Right now, we do not have codes for a control driver for Crestron as we do for a lot of our other, as we do for every single one of our other products. But we are working on those, and we can give you control codes. I know they wouldn't be specific to Crestron yet. Because this is a brand new product, we just haven't had all of our drivers, and we didn't know what the kind of all of the customers that would be using this and what applications that it will end up using it with. So as those come in, we are developing the different control methods for that. All right, guys. Well, looks like that's it. Once again, thank you so much for sticking with AVPro, for checking out our webinar, for being interested in live streaming. And I thank you guys. Goodbye. We'll see you next time.